This video covers part-of-speech tag sets. I'll introduce the Penn tree bank, an extremely popular part-of-speech tag set, and provide definitions for the tags within it. Then I'll briefly introduce some other part-of-speech tag sets as well, before we move on to a case example where we assign part-of-speech tags to a sentence with numerous potential ambiguities. Before we can assign part-of-speech tags to words, we need to decide what set of part-of-speech tags we'll be assigning. There are a variety of different part-of-speech tag sets that can be used for NLP tasks, ranging from very coarse-grained categories to very fine-grained categories. Each tag within a part-of-speech tag set corresponds to a different grammatical role. The most common part-of-speech tag set is the Penn tree bank. The Penn tree bank contains 36 part-of-speech tags corresponding to traditional grammatical roles, as well as 12 additional tags corresponding to things like punctuation and currency. It was developed during the process of building a huge corpus that contains 4.5 million words of American English, and has been fundamental to innovations in natural language processing over the past 30 years. Here are the 36 part-of-speech tags included in the Penn tree bank. If you ever felt bored in a grammar class and wondered where you would ever put that information to use, you have finally found an opportunity. I'll walk through some of these categories in the next few slides. Categories beginning with the letter N correspond to different types of nouns. There are 4 subcategories of nouns: singular common nouns, plural common nouns, singular proper nouns, and plural proper nouns. Categories beginning with the letter V are different types of verbs. There are verbs in their base form, past tense verbs, gerunds or present participles, past participles, verbs used in the first or second person singular present tense, so things like you eat it, and verbs used in the third person singular present tense. Modals, which are verbs like should or could, are categorized using the abbreviation MD. Categories beginning with the letter J are adjectives. There are base adjectives, comparative adjectives, and superlative adjectives. Categories beginning with the letter R are adverbs, and just like with adjectives, there are base adverbs, comparative adverbs, and superlative adverbs. The remaining categories are miscellaneous things like determiners, interjections, pronouns, and other grammatical roles. In general, the categories you see here are closed classes. That means that those categories are pretty much decided upon and new words are typically not added to them. The categories that you see here are generally open classes, meaning that new members are added to them all the time. For example, COVID-19 is a new singular proper noun that has just recently entered the lexicon. Although the Penn tree bank is extremely popular, there are also other part-of-speech tag sets available. Some other common tag sets include the Brown corpus tag set, the C5 tag set, and the C7 tag set. These corpora have even more fine-grained distinctions than the Penn tree bank, which is both good and bad. It allows for more precision in selecting the correct grammatical role, but it's also harder both for people and classifiers to know which choice to make given so many options. So, how can we assign part-of-speech tags? We can work through an example here with the interesting expression, time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like a banana. We'll start out with the word time. There are 2 grammatical roles that could fit this word in isolation. It could be acting as a common noun, or it could be acting as a verb, as in let's time it. Since we're able to look ahead and consider the rest of the context, we'll decide that it's acting as a noun. Next, we'll move on to the word flies. Again, this could fill 2 different grammatical roles. It could be a plural noun, or it could be a third-person verb. Considering that the last word was a noun, we'll decide that this is a verb. Next, we'll move on to the word like. This could be either a subordinating conjunction or maybe some sort of verb to like as a base form. Given the context, we see that it's a subordinating conjunction. Next, we have the word and. Thankfully, this is easy. Arrow and fruit are also nice and easy. Flies is another tricky word. It might be another case of a third-person present verb. However, it actually looks like this time it's being used in a different way as a plural noun. We'll go ahead and select that. Like is also tricky because it's another word we've already seen last time as a subordinating conjunction, but this time it seems more like it's being used as a third-person present verb. We'll go with that. The next word is another very easy one. And finally, the last word is pretty straightforward too. So obviously it's far from trivial for us to decide on part-of-speech tags. There are a variety of different ways that machines have tackled the problem.